People from indigenous tribes, what barbaric ritual did your family demand you follow? My family demanded I watch my twin brother bleed to death in a secret forest ritual rather than call an ambulance. Every winter, 13-year-old boys line up naked in our village square for a public circumcision for a tradition called Ulwaluko, a coming-of-age ritual. This year it was mine and my twin brother's turn, and we'd been terrified for months. The camp guardian who'd oversee us for 3 months was a drunk who beat boys for crying. He bragged about the initiates who died under his watch, calling them weak. The traditional surgeon reeked of brandy as he moved down the line with the same unwashed blade he'd inherited from his father. No sterilization, just ancient steel cutting foreskin after foreskin, while the crowd sang and cheered. Blood mixed with white clay as boys dropped to their knees. He packed each wound with ash and forest herbs, his filthy fingers pressing the mixture into raw flesh. Parents who suggested hospitals were threatened with exile. 3 days later, in the initiation hut, my brother's wound had turned black with infection, pus oozing through the herbs. What should have been his passage to manhood was becoming a death sentence. I recognized the signs because I'd sneak off to town and read medical books in the library. The fever, the smell, the way his body shook, it was blood poisoning. I begged the guardian to let me take him to the hospital just 8 kilometers away. The guardian grabbed me by the throat and slammed me against the hut wall. His breath stank of cheap wine as he growled that only cowards and women went to hospitals. If I took my brother, we'd both be dead to the tribe forever. Our family would be outcasts for generations. Real men either healed or died in the sacred forest. That was the ancestors' way. The other initiates watched in terrified silence. I stayed and watched my twin get worse. Every few hours I'd sneak out to steal medicine from the clinic's garbage bins. I'd learned what antibiotics looked like from those library books. At night, I'd crush the pills and force them down his throat while others pretended to sleep. On the 5th night, my brother's lips turned blue. His breathing came in wet, rattling gasps. When he stopped responding to his name and his eyes rolled back, I knew he had maybe an hour left. The other boys turned away, but I felt them watching as I made my choice. I dragged his limp body through the forest to the main road. My skinny 13-year-old arms burned, but terror gave me strength. A taxi driver took one look and raced us to the hospital without asking for money. I'll never forget the kindness in his eyes. The doctors cut away the rotting flesh and pumped antibiotics straight into his veins. I lived in that hospital waiting room for 2 weeks, sleeping on plastic chairs, eating bread that nurses secretly brought me. Before we left, a doctor pulled me aside and pressed a small device into my hand, a GPS panic button. "We see this too often," she whispered. "Hide it well. Press it if they come for you." I stuffed it in my pocket, thinking she was overreacting. When my twin finally opened his eyes and whispered my name, I cried harder than I'd ever cried in my life. We were alive. We were safe. The hospital felt like a different world where tradition couldn't touch us. When I got back to the village, the guardian found out where I had snuck off too, and already had our entire family suspended over massive fire pits on wooden frames. The flames licked higher as the village chanted in unison, calling on ancestors to accept our sacrifice. My parents hung unconscious from the smoke, my little sister's screams barely audible over the ritual drums. The guardian poured ceremonial oil over my father, preparing to lower him into the flames first. The crowd's chanting reached a fever pitch as they began cranking the ropes to drop him. I managed to reach into my pocket and press the GPS panic button the hospital doctor had given me. My father's body was already engulfed in flames when helicopter searchlights blinded everyone. The hospital's emergency response team arrived with military police. They'd been monitoring, waiting for my signal. They cut the ropes and pulled my mother and sister from above the pits, while officers tackled the guardian and put him behind bars. The village allows medical checks now. Some call us brave, but my twin feels forever incomplete. We buried my father in the town cemetery, not with his ancestors. My mother barely speaks, and my sister still fears fire, but we are safe.